What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Raph Esparza, coming to you on a wonderful and beautiful Friday afternoon. I hope you're doing well. I am doing fantastic. RIPs to the GOATs, the legends, Dolly, Tim Curry. I forgot to put Peter Cullen, who was the voice of Optimus Prime. It's been a rough week out here, but nonetheless, we will take their spirit and move on. But, talk about some beloved individuals. These were three individuals that really got the outpouring of love very quickly. But, Tim, speaking of outpouring of love, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Working 9 to 5. Just out here trying to make a living. I love Dolly Parton. Dolly, out where I live in Franklin, Tennessee, is a national treasure. People are outside of her home as we speak. They're putting flowers out. They're doing all that great stuff. Obviously very beloved. My youngest son, Nate, he's 19, was like, I know she is, but I don't know what the big deal is. And I'm like, she's kind of like the ladies' country Elvis or something. I don't know exactly how to say it, but she's a big deal. Pretty great person as far as I could tell. Seems like she did a lot of great work for people back here. So RIP Dolly. But Raph, great to be here. I don't know what's happening in the world of jiu-jitsu. Everything's flipping back on its head. Craig wants into ADCC. Claudia Gadelha is claiming that the UFC is friends with Flow and all these other organizations. RAF 12 is saying they did pull in 10,000 people to watch their event in Cleveland, Ohio. A lady fights a bear. The Gracies are getting in planes and showing up at people's front door. Trying to find the right word to say because I was going to say something else. Because they're talking shit on the internet. So, yeah, I don't know, man. The world has kind of flipped on its head here, but
you previewed
really
a lot.
Excited to talk to you about it.
Yeah, we do have a couple things. What's up, JV Evolve? Appreciate you. It's been a while. Hope you dudes are doing real good. We're doing all good things considered, I would say that. Last minute ADCC invite. I'll go with Kate or Kamzat. Maybe Umar because he is a hot prospect right now. So, listen, the Rotolos make too much money now. They're not going to mess around. We have gone past the age of appealing to everyone's good sportsmanship nature. Now we're in the era of getting paid. More on that in a second. So thank you for those things. But the reason why I wanted to put in an MMA star there was kind of the formula. Like they would always throw one or two or somebody from the MMA world would want to cross over. But I think it was at a time where MMA also was not getting the same kind of bank as they do now as well. So it seems like one of the things that we are learning from Raph is that some of these guys are just like, if the money's right, I'll come do your little dog and pony show, but I'm not interested in joining unless you got something for me.
Yeah. And I don't think the money has to be super high. It just has to be reasonable. These guys aren't fighting anymore. Many of them, some of them have been wise with their money. Some haven't. I think a lot of them still have the itch to do something, to compete. And it does give them that. You throw some, zeros behind it and maybe you'll get them to show up.
Okay, Tim, I have two for this opening this week for our monologue. So I'm going to reset the time here. But I want to start with Tim Curry. So for Tim Curry, Iconic has a million different videos, movies, all that sort of stuff. I would love for you right now to rank your top 3 Tim Curry performances.
Tim Curry performances. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at some of his body of work here. Tim Curry. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what I've seen him. I thought that he was the hooked on golf guy at first when they said he I think, look, number one for me has to be the 1990s Stephen King's It, because I watched that. That was the one that was on television, and it's not the clown from today, but it was pretty damn creepy. He did a nice job on that. I would have to say that for me, that's his number one. Outside of that, man, I don't have like any major Tim Curry moments for me. Maybe I'm missing the boat on the guy. He's got a great body of work. I do remember
Home Alone 2?
Okay. All right. He was one of the bad guys, right? That's right.
He was the bad guy.
That's true.
Captain Planet? Yeah. He was a bad villain voice in that. He almost was going to be the villain in Batman the Animated Series. He was supposed to be the Joker before Tim Curry was the Joker, but you know why he wasn't?
Why?
They deemed his voice, the executives, too scary.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that about him. That's impressive. So, how do you get... What is too scary? What does that even mean?
I think what that means is we can't sell toys with this one. Is really what it comes down to. And understandably so, because, listen, dude, that's the whole reason Batman Returns ended the allegiance that they had with Tim Burton, because they went to Batman Forever, which was night and day. They go, wait a minute, how are we supposed to sell Happy Meal toys when Danny DeVito is doing double entendres to a very hot Michelle Pfeiffer? Yeah, that's not going to work at McDonald's for us. Sorry, guys. So let me walk you through just a couple little things here. One, honorable mention, Rocky Horror. I know, it's like a tour de force. It's just not the movie that I resonated with. I just said, man, he's really fucking good in this. But for me, and there's one that snuck in there just last night, but I'll give you my notes. I already said Home Alone, so let's put Home Alone at number 3. Number 2, Muppet Treasure Island. Hear me out. This came out when I was in high school, so I was not about any part of the Muppets at that time. If it wasn't Muppet Christmas Carol, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to talk about it. But he is right up there with Michael Caine in terms of human acting with the Muppets. There's a moment in there where he said, upstage, boys, it's my only number, meaning it's the only time they're allowing me to sing in this movie. Hilarious. But he is legit acting his ass off for real. And somebody on Tumblr once said that Michael Caine worked with the Muppets because he treated them like fellow actors. Tim Curry worked with the Muppets because he acted like a Muppet in a Muppet movie. I tell you, my good friend Kirk Shimano, if my memory is correct, in high school would say, like, this movie's really good. And I was like, whatever, dude, who cares? Being a dumb teenager, I am here to tell you I was wrong 25 years ago. Stands up. Disney Plus, go watch it. And number 1 is Clue. It is currently up on Paramount Plus. If you've never seen any part of Clue, the 80s movie, do yourself a favor, go watch it. It is so fast, so fun, and there are moments where he's saying everything while running and recreating every one of the crimes. That is a 10-minute scene, and then they do it 2 more times. It is unlike anything else. Clue is the definitive, to me, Tim Curry movie for a man that has a plethora of great roles. Also, one more honorable mention. I wanted to test something out here, Tim. Okay?
Yes.
So I'm going to put you on air, and I'm going to send you a text right now. And I want you to try to say the following text with a straight face. And if it works, we're going to put it side by side with the way that Tim Curry said it. And I will tell you the context behind it after you read this. but no context initially. Okay, so look at your text on your phone.
All right. I'm waiting. I'm eagerly waiting.
Here you go. I want you to read it exactly as it is written in the way you would interpret this sentence.
I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space.
Okay. So here's the context. Your delivery, not bad. Not bad at all. Tim Curry did a movie with Gina Carano and Randy Couture. So there was a connection here to MMA and Jiu-Jitsu. And it was a video game called Red Alert 3. And his line delivery in this is that he is just holding on for dear life. Because the way he says it is in his perfectly rich voice. But the way he takes a beat before he says the word space, he is struggling not to laugh, Tim. And I just need, just from hearing it, we're going to put yours side by side with his. But just so you get a preview of what it's going to sound like, this is what he sounds like in that movie/video game.
I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space.
He loads up on the front part of the word too. He loads up on space.
It's so good. It makes me laugh whenever I need a good pick me up. And it says you can almost see him corpse in that take. I have news for you. It's not just that take. Somebody has assembled a 3-minute blooper reel that is really just scenes from it. And I think I have read somewhere that they said that communism space joke that he does, they said, no, it was on a teleprompter, which we all know. And they go, that was the first take. And they go, oh my God, did he want to redo it? And he goes, no, I think he said it exactly the way he wanted to say it. Meaning like he knew he had an interp, and then when he had to do it, he goes, fuck it, let's do it. So it makes it even better. Oh, okay. And I mean, what are you going to say? Dolly Parton, and, you know, we know the great songs. She's already got a great one. But one thing that's super good on her behalf is half of the top 200 songs on iTunes or Apple Music are Dolly Parton songs. So an incredible songwriter. Hey. Too hard to pick just a couple, but major props to her. And of course, Optimus Prime. I don't even think we need to do Transformer movies if he's not around.
No, I agree. Dolly Parton's got a hell of a theme park out here too, Dollywood. It's pretty cool.
I mean, she is somebody where it makes sense to say you're going to go to Dollywood because it's her name, it goes there. If I ever had a theme park based on my name, I don't think that would work. I think people would be in the comment section about that one.
It would be a Sparza land. I don't know. Yeah. What would a Rafa Sparza theme park be like, though? Honestly, I think all the supervisors would have that Rafa Sparza look that is trying not to reveal his consternation, whatever's happening at the moment. You know, they're just kind of like, yes.
I can tell you, okay, let's map it out. First and foremost, we would buy the rights to Captain EO, because Disney, if you're not going to use them, give them to me. 2,
right.
You need at least 3 fast roller coasters. I don't want any of this bullshit like, oh, it's a Matador, you know. Like, no. I need fast. Right. Then you get the family rides. Let's say they're going to be, I think Fast and the Furious now does a loop around where you walk inside of the theme park. And that got me thinking, what are some movie experiences I would love to recreate or license? And I'm like, let's do the Requiem for a Dream horror house where you just revisit every part of those ups and downs. There's a room where you hear ass to ass, and I feel like you do that. I'm also going to tell you, I would love to create an X-Men theme park ride. And I think what you would do is you would get Storm, Angela Bassett in my version, or the very talented lady who does her on the animated series, to give you a soliloquy that would get you ready. And there'd be a typhoon that would rise you up and get you up in the air. I think that's the way to go. But having her be like, I call upon the winds of the northeastern sun to make sure that they have risen to the rised elements of the sky. And then, you fall. That's it. Space. Space. Yes. And thank you for this. It says Muppet Treasure Island was a good movie. I didn't really know that until now. I think the thing that pissed me off in that movie that I vividly remembered, there is a sword fight scene between Kermit the Frog and Tim Curry. And Kermit, I think they had done some CGI or something where he's doing front flips to get to him. And I go, what is this bullshit? So yeah. I think that made me not want to see it as a kid. I was like, nah, I need my Muppets to be inching up, not flying in the air. It's time to
start the music. Yeah, I love the Muppets. I have such a big spot in my heart for the Muppets. I'm not like a Muppet aficionado, but I certainly watched the hell out of the Muppets growing up. And if I see them, I'm stopping.
I figured out, maybe for a minute when you're a teenager, it's uncool to like the Muppets. But I got to tell you now, in my 40s, I have gone from a teenager that said, the Muppets, why does anybody want to see that? To in my 40s, yo, can Disney figure out what the fuck to do with the Muppets?
No shit. What a
I'm so tired of them not doing it. Is it a series? Is it not a series? Sabrina Carpenter literally showed up for them with Seth Rogen. Make it a series. Not hard. Make money. I digress. Let's get to the actual show. All right. First and foremost, very interestingly, Craig seemed to throw his hat into the world of ADCC, maybe suggesting after J-Rod was suddenly missing and then conspicuously found on UFC BJJ that Craig would be the savior to come in and rescue that division. And all things being said, would have a pretty good shot at that division. Having said that, Tim, what are your thoughts on that proposal from Craig Jones? And we'll give an update at the end of that.
I mean, it's I can see why he would want to do it. It makes sense on a couple different levels. One is just to throw your name out there and say, yeah, I think I would do it. Of course, he's going to get a bump in his social media views and his counts and all of that jazz. So, and we know Craig plays that line just a little bit. So that didn't surprise me. But when you really start kind of thinking about it, Craig has competed at the 88 kilogram spot in 2015, 2017, 2019. He took silver in 2019. I think he came back in 2022 at 99 and won. So, I mean, it's a weight class he's comfortable in. He has taken second place in it, which is gold for Craig, right? Second place is winning. I don't know if there's a connection to the fact that it's because J-Rod is out. He's offering to step in. I don't know if there's some little dig or back channel angle there. I have no idea. But let's say Craig really wanted to do it and it was indeed it was a yes and he reached out to ADCC. Would they even be big enough to go yeah, you've spent a couple years trying to destroy us. Sure, we'd love you. We'd love you back. So we'd love to have you. So I don't know. I think it's mostly Cragen, but I would love to see Craig compete again. I don't know if he's in competition shape though right now. Sadly, if he's watching, Craig, let us know, man.
Yeah, I'm sure in some version he is watching. He does keep up with us occasionally, but I would tell you this, even Craig, when he's not in shape, is still a problem. And I argue probably stands to do better in ADCC by not training.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But I do have some bad news as an update for this one. It does appear that Lucas Kennard has taken that slot. So those of you who were holding out hope for Craig Jones, Lucas Kennard has stepped in. We can also...
Isn't that the... Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. I think we can also confirm that Gavin Corbet is taking the slot that was suddenly missing as well. So ADCC is shaping up. It is approximately, good Lord, about 2 weeks away, Tim.
Yeah.
That doesn't even seem real. Like, ADCC this year does not seem real in the least. I guess I'm concerned. I also looked up the time it might be starting, just so I could prepare, because normally I do a fight companion. I'm figuring things out. I have some travel to do next week. I'll be gone for about a week, and then I come in, and I've already got to be ready for ADCC. So, Tim, Pacific time, do you know or have an idea what time ADCC might be starting on September 12th?
Geez, I don't know, but let me ask my buddy Ben. No, I'm just kidding. It's probably at some awful time because it's overseas, right? So I'm assuming they're not going to time shift. Maybe they will. But I'm not positive, Raph. To be real, like, I probably won't watch it live. I'll probably just go back and watch pieces of it. I'm just being honest. Like, I love all these guys. It's great, but if it's going to be like at 2 a.m, I'm not doing it.
It will start here in the Pacific time zone at 2 a.m., which means it'll start
are you serious?
At 4 a.m., Tim.
I said 2 a.m. because that's the most preposterous time to start a show. Like, why would you even do it? Why would you even do it? You can't push it back.
It says something new or the 20th rerun in a show. Good afternoon, by the way, gentlemen, if you're live. So, Egg, do you see the part where it says live? Is it hard to understand that? I know that there is an alleged 20-pound brain, but it seems very difficult to understand. Live means live. And 2, tough talk for somebody who's already rebranded after, 20 episodes? Pfft. Tim and I have literally crapped out 20 episodes in one sitting. We're good.
Crapped out. I crapped out an episode earlier, guys.
Have we not, Tim? Literally, that's the whole point is. I have said this to other guests in the past. I've been like, please do not try to talk about having a show until you get to about 100 shows. I do not believe you.
I get it.
So
you're right.
There be that. Anyway, agree. Hi, Egg. Good to see you. Let's move on to our second topic here. So that is an update of UFC BJJ. Okay. We now get to talk about our reactions. Last week, I did a live fight companion, and that was a lot of fun. But Tim, I'm really interested to hear where you left off on UFC BJJ because there were some really interesting results that happened at that particular show.
You know, so overall, I was excited to watch this card coming into it. And I'm pretty honest on this show. I'll tell you guys, like, I don't think I'm watching that one live, but I wanted to watch that one. I thought the matchups were pretty good. I did like the angle of having the ladies competing for that flyweight kind of Grand Prix final. I thought that was a cool angle. It kind of got me more interested in those matches. I was really impressed with Danielle Kelly. I was not expecting her to do as physically well against Anna Lima. I kind of was thinking Anna Lima was going to outsize her a little bit and push her around a little bit. But Danielle Kelly was aggressive. She wrestled good. She got takedowns. She started to dominate that match. So that was impressive. Wagner, and I noticed they called it the crescent choke, which that's not the name that they told me. And then later they called it the street choke. But I guess now it's a crescent choke. He looked good and aggressive, and I was surprised to see that performance out of him. The Tackett brothers, of course, did great. I saw what you said, Egg. Fornerino is just a beast, and Casilla Mora, I was pulling for Bree Stick. I really wanted her to win, but Casilla Mora is just a machine right now. And congrats to Brianna St. Marie. She's the new featherweight champ. I like Tackett versus Gracie. Okay. I want to get your thoughts about this as well. I don't like the bowl. I think the bowl for jiu-jitsu is total bullshit. Okay. What the bowl has introduced is an arrested form of wall wrestling that is like the dumbest form of all time. Why don't we just stack up some boxes from Costco and put them around the mats and make them wrestle through that? Let's put obstacles out there. This is like when baseball decided we're going to put a flagpole in center field. This is what they're doing. They brought the bowl walls in so it's not as big of a surface, and they made them a little steeper and a little shorter. And all it means is these dudes are blast doubling each other into this wall. Guys are hitting the back of their heads on that canvas super hard now. I think it's a dumb idea. And I know that Claudia Gadella came out and said, no, we're friends with everybody. We love everybody. We need all of our athletes to get ready to compete in the bowl because it's aggressive and it's this and it's that. And I'm just not buying it. It is a lesser idea that they took from someone else, and now they're trying to present a feature. Everything else on the card was awesome. The bowl is crap as far as I'm concerned. But I'd like to get your thoughts on it. And congrats to Andrew Tackett. Aggressive win. I'm not a fan of face choking, raking on the nose, not in grappling. If you're fighting MMA, all bets are off. But that's just part of the game now, man. And he's super freaking good at it. So congrats to Andrew.
Well said, Tim. Okay. You want to hear my takes? Okay, so here's a few. First off, yes, big respect over to Andrew Tackett. That was a really impressive performance. I can't complain. I mean, he's getting it done within 2 minutes' time. It seemed like his biggest challenge was Wagner, and there was good reason for that. We saw the work that Wagner put on Andy Varela, and that was really, really something to watch. So those were two big highlights. Also, shout out to William Tackett. William Tackett getting the win over Fedor looked really freaking impressive. Fedor really wanted to take it to him. You knew he wanted to make it an aggressive match. William met him right then and there. Here's what I want to say, though. I think that UFC BJJ owes a major debt and gratitude to that female division. That female division is carrying UFC BJJ. Yes, some incredible performances by both the Tackett brothers, Mikey Musumeci, Mason Fowler. I don't want to overlook those because they have been good. But we're talking about either competitiveness, intrigue in the match, or just outright aggression to put on a show. It has been the female division. So we can have our differences of opinion on some of the business practices that UFC BJJ has done, or maybe some questionable relations, because when they tell us that they're in great standing with other organizations, I would love to hear other organizations respond to that. I don't think they're going to be the same. And I just saw a post today by ONE FC that said, here's our major set of stars. And they're really, really good. But it does start to bode very interestingly when we look at the ADCC lineups. And part of them are the athletes making choices now, as our good friend Bren Kovacs was explaining in his explanation of all of the stuff from ADCC's fallout in terms of the Craig Jones Invitational, pricing some of the athletes out. I get that. For our purposes, though, seeing those people not participate or be able to participate in other cross promotions, it will make ADCC weaker. I think that's one of the first areas that it's going to come into. There's now discussion on, is it just a super fight format? Are the super fight formats dead because it's just too costly? There's a lot of different opinions on these sorts of topics.
Interesting.
But having said all of that, every one of the women's matches on that night delivered. And shout out to Cassia, Adele. I think they did a fantastic job. Like, they had those matches back to back. And then it was really tugging at the heart here for Brianna St. Marie, who I think is one of the nicest, easiest to rally around people in all of jiu-jitsu because she's always been incredibly fun, nice, great to not just me, but other podcasts. I know that for a fact because I've seen the way that she has talked to other shows. She's always been warm, kind, and we've always known her to be an incredible athlete. But this year she was going through a lot of physical struggle. She was talking about how hard it was for her to stay on the mats and how grueling it was. And then to see her come and win on one of the biggest platforms in jiu-jitsu, I just thought, man, if anybody deserves it, I really feel like she is one of those people. So it made me so happy to see her have a moment because not only the way she's treated us and spoken to us off the air, but just because it's like, how can you not rally behind that story? But putting those 3 women's matches back to back to back, that was the true strength, in my opinion, of UFC BJJ 10.
That's a good take. Yeah, I felt like that pocket of matches that were really good, exciting to watch.
So you have some friends here, Tim. The first says, well, you have friends. I don't know if you have friends in the same way UFC BJJ has friends. As per JB, I doubt the UFC BJJ is friends with the ADCC, just my opinion. I don't think you're alone in that. But let's get to the friends that agree with you. The new bowl is dog shit. Not a fan of the bowl. And space. So for me, Tim, I would just love to know this from you. Why do you feel the bowl hasn't worked? Because I think we have to add the context. We've seen the bowl for a while. They made a big to-do about the renovations they did to the bowl, where it essentially lowered and made it a little bit smaller. So where in the revision was it bad there, or was it just always bad?
Well, in my opinion, it was always bad. And the reason I say that is grappling historically, all of grappling, not just jiu-jitsu, I'm talking wrestling, judo, sambo, combat jiu-jitsu, combat sambo, Turkish oil wrestling, Chinese wrestling, whatever kind of wrestling you're talking about takes place on a flat surface. It's usually matted. Sometimes it's outside. Sometimes it's on the sand. There's never a wall involved. It doesn't exist. There's not a pit. There's not a ramp. There's not a slope. It's a gimmick. And when they add that gimmick, they're adding a new novelty. Oh, we made it a little tighter. We changed it up. So you're going to see some things you haven't seen before. Okay, so we're going to see some things we haven't seen before. Great. And then 3 months down the road, what's next? Oh, we're going to add another feature to this because we want to. That's not it, man. Like the product needs to be the actual grappling, in my opinion. Now, look, the UFC put a cage around it because they're fighting. You're going to have a cage around it. You don't have to have a boundary around the grapplers. I don't believe it. I think it adds another nuance to grappling that people have to train and study for and work for. That's totally impractical. It's like a little half ramp. At least just make it a wall then. Like put them in a cage and let them do it in a cage because walls are real in life and you might get pushed up against a wall and have to fight. But this little bullshit skate ramp thing, no, man. It's insane. It's a terrible idea. It's implemented terribly too. Look at the way the mats are cut. This drives me crazy, by the way, when I look at it. Who fucking cut these mats? Like geometry, dude. Geometry. All right. Get it out there, figure it out. You guys got billions of dollars, get some custom stuff made. It looks like when the Gracies do their thing, they're like, how to make mats on the cheap. Like, that's what it looks like they made these on. And they're going like, look at our pristine bowl. It's so beautiful. Hey, don't mind the lip of that corner's up higher, and there's some weird wrinkles in that one over there because it's not tight because we cut it weird and we're trying to like fit it into that pocket. It's dumb, dude. It's dumb. I don't like it. I don't think it has a place in our sport. We need to get rid of the novelty and the nuance and make it about the athletes. Put a good product out there. Highlight the people that are actually involved in doing it and get out of the gimmick world. That's my take. Okay. I feel better now.
Well, don't worry. I think you made a new friend. What's up, Mark? Thank you for joining us. Yes, we do this show weekly here. You can also see repeats as per Egg's request.
I like this guy.
Daily. I like when people say I like this guy. I always wonder when you see in movies when they like have somebody who kills somebody or has attitude and they go, I like this guy. Like that was the moment. You literally assassinated people. And that was the moment he responded. So we appreciate that. And I do see this. Yes, it does give off early 2000 Sports Center vibes, prime ESPN. Well, somebody's got to do it because can't all just be Pat McAfee all the time. Nonetheless, I want to bring this up, though, Tim. You have such a passionate take on that bowl. I think where I'm mad is it is being underutilized. If you're making it a bowl, why are we not seeing videos of people skating on it? Because you might as well get the best bang for your buck. If it looks like that, you might as well, when you have Tackett doing like a first-person testimonial, having some dudes in the background. You get the surf fight guys going over there. Bet you they'll skate. Jeff Glover's probably living there. Who knows? But to me, I just feel like the way that they cut it down, I think was twofold. I think one, when they do the post interviews, they like hop on. It's always so weird because they go, come here and do an interview. And they like hop on and they're like, what's up? Oh, man.
Yeah.
I just competed in jiu-jitsu. What's going on? Yeah, great match. Woo! And it always looks like nobody knows how to look comfortable in those interviews. So it's like when people think they're being cool, it just makes them look a lot weirder where their physical body language is all over the place. So there's one. But two, I like that they were trying, but I will say this. This is a very good summary. That's Dana White stealing ideas from Dana Brown over at Karate Combat. So yes, that is definitely part of it. Karate Combat, very innovative in that world. But I do feel like that is where they're trying to innovate. And they're doing like all these front flips or they're like, oh, takedown near the edge of the bowl. That's just athletes gaming the system. And it's going to happen within every world. Yeah. What I do want to caution here, just to IB, oh, good Lord. Now I know what that took me a second to figure out what that acronym means, but now crystal clear. Thank you. IGBBMN262. In case you're a Dustin Poirier fan, just saying. It should be on a platform raised 6 feet off the ground. That'll keep it in bounds. Speaking from personal experience on that world, that also terrifies me.
Yeah. Fight to win is trying that.
We're nervous about that. Exactly how I did it. I really hope so, Mark. So thank you for that. Let's move on to our next topic because, again, shout out UFC BJJ 10. I thought it was overall a very good event. And you do know that we will have constructive criticism for them all the time because, Tim, they have no enemies. So they really just have to accept what we say as a friendly version of constructive criticism, right?
Friends.
Let's now move to the next topic, which is, can Real American Freestyle Wrestling continue to draw crowds? Right now, they are starting to claim that they have drawn huge crowds within the tens of thousands. I have been following their numbers very closely. One of their next events is going to be in Vegas on October 3rd. That capacity is only 2,500. And as it currently stands, I've only seen them sell about 700. Now, it's a fight town. I have no doubts that they will hit good marks there. But to me, I have seen steady progression in their growth on ticket sales. Tim, why do you think that is? And do you think that they will continue to build crowds in new markets?
Yeah, I do. So they had a week or so ago, we actually talked about, it might have been even last week now that I think about it, that RAF had claimed that they had sold over 10,000 tickets in an overseas show, and then they were pushing for their 1-year anniversary that took place in Cleveland last Saturday. They were saying we're expecting to have around the same. So I was very interested in it this week when I sat down, was starting to do research and read about the attendance, which is like kind of tricky to find, to be honest with you. You can find some like executives that were there, some people that were there say, yeah, we think we got around this much. I did look at some photos. It does look like it was a packed house. Now, they gave significant discounts to people that were in the RAF feeder program. I can't remember what it's called. It's that RAF youth program that they've started. They gave like a 30% discount or 40% on the tickets. So, maybe the gate wasn't huge, but they do have an ability to get people in-house. And as you and I know, jiu-jitsu really struggles with that. Craig Jones nailed it, especially the first time. And I think ADCC, when it was out in Vegas, it pulls decent numbers. But on a consistent basis, we haven't seen a promotion be able to actually get people in-house. And I think it's a little bit of a mix of their pro wrestling kind of push and how they build the shows and the stories. But I also think it's because they're getting athletes on the cards that have followings, that have big names. You had Henry Cejudo taking on Marab is the main event in Cleveland last week. So there's lots of fans that know who those guys are, and they'll go out and watch them wrestle. What they do right is they actually put on a good show. And I think that makes new fans. And so we're continuing to see this steady build out of RAF. I've been saying it since the day one. No one's going to listen until it's too late. I'm telling these guys in jiu-jitsu, all my friends, all my homies, every one of them that's promoting, you need to pay attention to RAF. You need to lock into what they're doing, because what they're doing is what we're trying to do, and they're doing it. They came right into our backyard and started doing it. Good on them, because that gives me hope that we can do the same thing, but somebody's got to do it. I think they're onto the model.
Thank you for that, Tim. So just to kind of go off of that, there are a couple comments that I want to bring up, and it says, will MVP or UFC buy RAF? Or will UFC start their own freestyle wrestling, likely, promotion? It'll be interesting to see what happens. So there's another comment here that I feel goes hand in hand with this question, and I'll make the amendment momentarily, but it says, the second a current fighter gets hurt doing this, the UFC will put an end to that. They wouldn't last very long with access to the UFC roster. Current roster, not old roster, because a lot of these guys are older athletes looking for a place, a master's division, and yet they're still healthy, they're still interested. And you mean to tell me that if they didn't find a place for transplant recipient Ben Askren, that they couldn't take somebody who had a pretty good wrestling pedigree from the Dana White Contender Series and have a place for them once they got let out of a contract? I think sky's the limit for RAF. I think they've done an incredible job. I would just tell you this. They could literally fall on retired and old UFC fighters without a contract, and they would have a sustainable business model for the next 2 years. Yeah. Just based on people who have been in the UFCs, because they would use that clout. And in terms of will they be bought out, it's an interesting proposition, but Fox Nation, the actual app, is hurting for content that goes outside of those who are news junkies. I think that's why this has been a success. I think that unless you're asking to watch more Dan Aykroyd going to visit a bar, which, no disrespect, Dan Aykroyd, you're a goat. I think that's one of the only original content pieces that is not necessarily news-based that they offer. So with RAF, I think they're going to be incredibly protective, and Fox is not in the same family as TKO or Netflix. No. So I think everybody in this world, they want to keep their IP. They're going to want to keep as much as they can of that Fox branded RAF. What RAF may be doing is increasing their interest so much that when that contract runs out, maybe they do shop it around and see what's going on. I don't think Fox will let that go, because I think they have the understanding of, we may not be in MMA, but we have MMA Light, which can get us all the attention with all the stars without half of the marketing. So it would be dumb for them to let it go, but
Great
stranger
point.
things have happened. And sometimes when they look at their deals, like Paramount's very happy right now with the UFC in terms of the numbers, say the Conor McGregor fight did or Freedom 250. I don't think they're very excited about what the numbers are this week or next week. I think they're just like, fuck, these are not good numbers. Yikes. Why? Because you never hear them. So keep that in mind as we move on over, and I will give you a full report if I go in a month and change to that next event. But we're going to move on to the very next topic. The next topic being that of illegal, which always makes me have a little bit of a pause here on the show when we're going to talk about something illegal. But this one is a particular move that caused some controversy. There was an illegal pile driver. Yes, you heard us correctly. A pile driver that did paralyze an athlete that was competing recently. Tim, this has been something that I've seen posted multiple times. It's a very graphic and unfortunate video. But what can you tell us about this situation to fill in the context for people who don't know?
So this is an injury that took place in Londrina, Brazil, Super Pro Jiu-Jitsu 2026 event. There's a video out. I watched it, and it's terrible. It shows the athlete. I believe his name is William Masuda. He's inverted before kind of being brought up into like that. Masuda has a triangle on his opponent, and I believe the opponent's name is Giuliano Di Pelle Machado. Okay, so Masuda has a triangle on Machado. Machado kind of stands up, and Masuda's kind of based on the top of his head, and then Machado, I mean, I can't say exactly what he was trying to do, but it appears that he lifted him a bit and then just dropped to his knees straight on Masuda's head. Masuda suffered a severe C5, C6 spinal injury. He has paralysis. It was reported today that he has slight arm movement, but no sensation below the chest. Masuda has a jiu-jitsu academy. He's beloved by his students. A prosecutor in Brazil has filed some type of civil charge against this to look into it. And, you know, it's like I'm not a fan of people suing people over things that happen in jiu-jitsu tournaments and matches or even in class because it's super, super hard to kind of derive intent. But this looks pretty damn bad, man. Like, I know athletes are supposed to protect themselves, but there's also a little bit of an understanding especially when you've been grappling for a long time, that you know what's really dangerous and what's really not. And if you're at a high level and you break somebody's neck, it's either a freak accident or you did that shit. And, you know, watching this video it's rough to watch. So wishing Masuda a speedy recovery. It's a terrible thing, Raph. It's terrible to see. And, you know, like these dudes that are doing this stuff, I don't understand what's the thought processes in their head to get a victory in a jiu-jitsu tournament versus somebody's actual life. It shouldn't even be a question.
Agreed. And listen, it's never that we don't want you guys to go out there and compete competitively. Go out there, do what you need to do, but maybe understand some physics that if you drop somebody on their head, it has some consequences. And really, how bad do you want a very cheap plastic metal? I say this, though, knowing that accidents happen all the time. So it's not necessarily maybe that was premeditated. It's nothing to that effect. It's just a matter of saying like, hey, man, there are ways where some days you have to take the L because it's better than paralyzing somebody. Just from my own perspective, I can't tell people how to do their own thing. There's a lot of different schools of thought where people will tell you, you know, the risk when you go to compete, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the majority of us that go to compete are really just looking for good reps, similar to the way you would have at your gym.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you want. So is what it is. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Again, thoughts and prayers out to that young man. I hope he is doing okay and a speedy recovery. We will keep you updated if we get more news on that. Okay, Tim, this one didn't even pop my radar, so I have no context behind it. Apparently, a woman defended a bear attack. What is the story
Ref.
here? Because sounds insane.
The story is jiu-jitsu versus an 800-pound Kodiak brown bear. Apparently, Alaskan Caitlin Lang is crediting jiu-jitsu and her dog Vesper for helping her survive. So she was out on a walk with her dog Vesper, and she was walking near a salmon stream, roughly like 10 miles from this Kodiak. The Kodiak kind of hunted her down. I think the Kodiak was a mama that had some cubs. The bear grabbed her leg, and she describes as, she's like, I read the article. She basically says like she didn't train that much, but she did do some jiu-jitsu classes. And she said she like framed her body and gave a defensive kick against the bear when it grabbed her leg to create space so she could get up and get away. It sounds like she did a technical stand-up, which is like, hell yeah. If you're only going to learn one thing, learn that. Her dog Vesper barked, drew the bear's attention long enough for the to scramble away. Yeah, she had some deep bruises, was scratched. Vesper was unharmed, thank God. But finally, you know, like here's some jiu-jitsu self-defense marketing that didn't actually come from the Gracies. And I just thought about Khabib. I thought, what does Khabib say? Because when I hear this and when you hear that, we're like, dude, fighting a bear? Are you crazy? That's frightening. Like, I'm not, when I see any kind of animal, even humans, I'm not thinking, I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt, man. I'm going to take this thing on. I'm like, how am I going to get out of here as fast as I can? Khabib sees this and he's like, what's the big deal? Like, you fought a bear? Okay, whatever. I fought a bear when I was 11. So anyway, good stuff. I'm glad jiu-jitsu was able to help Caitlin Lane, and I'm glad she's healthy and safe, and I'm glad Vesper survived.
You fought bear, I fought cousin. Very different. My bear levels. He here, your bear only here. Not as good D1. For you, no.
Yeah, right.
The notes that we get here are Alaskan women are different. I would agree. Let me just point something out that I don't think is obvious, but it should bear repeating for a lot of you guys. This is why you should do rounds with women. They are usually the most technical. If this was a dude in there, I don't know that he would understand the technical nature you would need to stay safe for frames. Because when she's like, oh, yeah, I didn't take a ton of jiu-jitsu, but I got the basics. That's somebody who paid attention in class. Do you know how scared I would be for some of my own students or people who I have rolled with to use their general knowledge to fend off a bear attack? I should start and end classes by saying, listen, I can't promise you this will defend you from a bear in a bad situation, but we have evidence it can work. So if you learn right, you got a shot. If you are ADHD and you go somewhere else, good luck. Godspeed. And this is a great comment because I don't know how to answer it other than it was a Kodiak. Absolutely no chance she doesn't die. LOL. Biggest brown bears on earth. Don't know. You should talk to her.
It's jiu-jitsu, dude. Jiu-jitsu saves lives. Back off, buddy.
All right, let's go to our next topic. And Tim, this is probably my favorite story of the week. And I think it's a learning lesson for a lot of people in jiu-jitsu. What can you tell us about the very strange challenge that got thrown out and the response from the Gracies?
Gracies have been called out over and over and over. I mean, this is where the Gracie challenge, mostly kind of came from and was fueled. And it recently happened again. And I'm trying to get the the dude's name. I think it's Darren. I'll find it in a second, but forgive me if I got the name wrong. Essentially, dude put out a video as a little while back, and he basically said like, F Henner Gracie. I challenge any purple belt from Gracie University to come out, show up at my gym in Vermont, and we'll put him against the purple belt, and look, we'll see what happens. We'll see how good he is. And most of the time, the way the Gracie Challenge works is you got to go to them. You show up at their gym. You show up at their house. You show up on their backyard property. From what I can tell, when the Gracies come to you, is probably going to be trouble for you if you just historically look at the way that's worked out for folks. So Henner puts student on a plane. They go out there and they show up and they get a little mix up. And it was friendly. It was nice, but the purple belt looked great. And then I'm watching this and I'm like, I know who this purple belt is. This purple belt was at Subversive. This is Brandon Farnsworth. What the hell? Out of anybody you could not want, if you threw a challenge out to purple belts, you don't want that guy coming to your school because, one, he's tough. He's young. He's super friendly and nice, and he smiles all the time, and everyone's going to like him more than you after he gets done kicking your ass. So pretty cool reverse Uno card they played. They show up. There's video of it, Raph. They put a good workout on him. And once again, you know, Gracie University is legit. Those guys are legit. It's not fake. You don't think they're good? Go roll with them. They're fantastic.
You are not lying on that regard, Tim. I have had the opportunity to roll with Brendan. I think it bears noticing and referencing something that's, listen, I know you guys are going to think that I did this, but I did not. Okay? Brendan got selected to do this. I think it's an incredible opportunity for him, but it should be noted that he's got an upcoming episode of The Grappling Hour that airs this Tuesday and premieres on YouTube. I didn't do it. You did it. I literally did this interview a month ago. I had no clue this was going to happen. I had no clue it was going to be on Subversive. These are just things that happened as a direct result, some say, from coming on my show. But having rolled with him, sure, he's just a purple belt. I'm just a purple belt. And he was incredibly good. It was a lot of fun rolling with him. I can tell you that he's a good-natured guy. He doesn't take anything super crazy, but because he fights, he's not afraid to get down. So I'm not saying that they set this gym owner up, but when this gym owner very specifically said, do you have a purple belt? And then put that out into the universe, Henner sees this giant grin on his face and is like, actually, I do. And that's the beginning of the end of it. So let me just give the context before we get into our fight of the week, which, if you're guessing, might be pretty pertinent to the conversation. But in this conversation that he has, he basically says, oh, we're going to send Brendan to his gym. Brendan goes to the gym, they have it recording, and the owner's not there. So the owner, by all accounts from Brendan in the video, is like, yeah, he's super nice, he was super great, but we had a flight that was going to be getting out of there at like 1:30, and the guy said, hey, I can't make it there, I'm raising 2 kids, would you come back from my night class? Now, when he comes back for the night class, they restructure their flights. They basically say, Gracie challenges, truly, no time limit. We will restructure our weight, so we will be back here a little bit later. So because some of you, I'm sure, are hearing this, you probably want to go straight to our next topic, which is this week's low light highlight of the week, which is how we phrase things here, so no offense to this gym owner. But this is the match from this past week, or from the time when Brendan and his compadres made their way on over to Vermont. So instead of talking about it, let's just show you some of this footage. And Tim, we'll take turns talking about it as it goes on. But just from your initial read, what can you tell us about this insane matchup that happened between, I don't know, 2 people that you probably in the back of your mind didn't think needed to fight, but ended up actually fighting? And I'm going to replay it over here in just a second, but just from your perspective, when you took a look at those first few seconds of that footage, Tim, Do you have any advice or things that just kind of rang out to you from that interaction?
Yeah, it looked like Brendan, was having fun. And it also looked like the school owner was not going crazy hard either. But it's a little bit of don't poke the bear, right? Like, let's start casual. If we start super hard, then we're going to figure out what's up right out of the gate.
So let me just
Brendan,
add us in here. I'm going to push this down.
Clarence pulled a classic jiu-jitsu instructor coach move where he was not at the class that he was supposed to be at when the guy came to talk to him, to see him, to challenge him, to do the membership, to get the refund, to buy the rash guard, to drop off the posters, to complain. Not there. I get it's a strong move. That's how you know he truly is a jiu-jitsu coach.
I love the fact that they had offered for him to roll with the other students before he got there, which is also a very strong gym owner tactic of like, no, go roll with my minions before you roll with me so I can see how you roll. And they straight out said, no, thank you. We'll wait.
Yeah.
So
like, well, so you get your ass kicked, Clarence.
And let me just point out a few things. Number one, as you're watching this and Tim takes a stab at it, the people who I genuinely feel for in this video are the students because they're just chilling at the top recess of this video. So, Tim, walk us through just a little bit of this action.
Yeah, so we're about midway through the action. Brendan has got on Clarence's back. He's got a tight body triangle, and this is the closest either of these guys had gotten to a submission, let's say, in this little session that they're having. And the students are watching, and Brendan's like, okay, am I going to tap Clarence in front of his crowd or not? Because that's a question you got to ask yourself when you're visiting sometimes, right? And sometimes you're the guy getting tapped by the visitor. That's just the way the game works. Game, respect, game. But right here, I think it was pretty clear that this was going to be over on the belly down. The belly down is where you go to die, especially with the Gracie University dude who shoots deep hooks and he's got all the Spider-Man hand shit and all that. First tap, the crowd, they start applauding, which I thought was cool. They're like, yay, first tap, coach lost, visitor won, and then they're right back into it. This was the first of several taps that Brendan got.
I think from my perspective, Tim, this is where I didn't know things were going to happen because Brendan's context that he gives before the video is he said, we didn't agree to anything. We just said we're going to roll. So there was no terms or conditions. So after the first tap happens, and we've all been there, if you have a time, you just kind of go to the next roll. But if there is no structured agreement, I want you to take a look at Clarence's body language as you would think after the person taps you, they kind of prove their point, right? It's just, okay, it is what it is. I say this as somebody who rolled for an entire hour with Brendan, and when he tapped me, we were under the understanding we're rolling for about an hour, so we're just having fun. We're going back and forth.
Yeah.
He's passing in very similar ways, so I recognize how he attacks here. But there was an agreement, and it was us saying, like, hey, this is just for shits and giggles. Like, we're talking trash. We're enjoying kind of getting to see how the other person plays. I don't think that's the case here, given the circumstances. So what you see after the tap is just watch the body language. Brandon lets it go. He goes over to the side, and the guy's like, yeah, more. And that to me is him going to kill shot of being
Let's
like,
go
let
again.
me take this leg. Yeah. And I got some news for you. Brendan's leg defense was pretty good. So not to give away too much, but here, Brendan actually just says, go ahead and pass my guard. And that little foot sweep that he did do to me a couple times. So in this regard, I'm with you, Clarence. I'm not a fan of Brendan doing those sweeps. Nonetheless, Brendan's got a really incredibly solid squeeze, as you're seeing here. But Tim, you alluded to the fact that you cut some footage out. So
Yeah.
now we're starting to see Brendan maybe turn it on a little bit more, because I think the first was almost a flow state of play up until they got to here, in my opinion.
They were feeling each other out too, trying not to put, you know how jiu-jitsu guys are, man. If you muscle up in the first 5 or 6 seconds, that's basically an act of world war, and you're going to be in for it, right? So they're both kind of chilling, but where this video cut was basically all those little check marks under Brendan's name, they started stacking up real quick in the last 30 seconds.
We essentially did the honorable thing of saving you time and space. This was the most competitive part of the video. From here on in, Brendan just kind of took advantage, ended up with maybe about 4 taps. At the end of it, Clarence said, I think that's all about you're going to get from me. And Brendan just goes, that's it? Okay. Now, I will say this about myself. Brendan, when I was rolling with him, he's so incredibly good. He really excels at getting buggy chokes and just really unconventional ways of attacking you. He's a very smart grappler. But what I would say to Brendan was, I was like, at no point did I say, like, that's all I got for you. I was just like, yeah, dude, some of this sucks rolling with you, but it's a great learning experience. I think at that point for them, Brendan had already proven the point of Gracie Combatives kind of works, huh? Gracie University, I'm out. But Tim, I wanted to return back to the board just so I could give some advice. Because, again, Clarence, glad you rolled with him. Glad you guys seemed on good terms after all of this. But I did have some, I think, important advice for when people do these kind of like challenges and stuff like this, because they do seem to happen more and more. Okay. I want to point out, Clarence, where maybe you erred. You were calling out the Gracies and their style of teaching. That's a form of trash talk. That's kind of like my department here. You can ask Brendan what I did, but I didn't really trash talk him per se before we rolled. I waited till he showed up and then I trash talked. And he was still beating me up, but I said, well, you're here. I'm here. I'm going to trash talk you now because it's a little more playful. I just noticed that as a bad strategy because at least when Brandon and I were rolling, we're just laughing the whole time. And it's a good way to get to know each other. So trash talk isn't inherently bad. It's more, what are the intentions of this? And speaking as somebody who does love to trash talk, I really try to trash talk those people who I respect and to really get to a sense of being friends quicker. I don't know that there's a structurally smart way to do inherent trash talk unless you think you're selling a super fight, a match, a big thing like that. And even those kind of have their limits. But what I would say is this. There's a lot of different Brendans that exist in different gyms. So if you don't think they exist, they do. I would just say, I'm sure after this experience, maybe it's a little bit different, but in the world of jiu-jitsu, to other people like him and all that sort of stuff, hey man, the best thing you can do for these things is go train with those people. And one of the things that Brendan told me that I would have never assumed when I was rolling with him, he was like, dude, you would fit in so well at our academy. You roll like some of our guys. I had no context to what that meant, but it was a nice compliment that he was saying like, yeah, you rolled like some of the people I roll with and structurally good at this or that. And I was like, man, I would have never known that had I not just gone outside of my bubble and just been like, dude, this is all friendly, but yeah, we're having fun and trash talking there. But yeah, I can tell you this. Brendan is good people. Clarence, I hope everything is good with you in your gym. Notice how I'm not saying you would be trash or you suck and I'm challenging you. I would be happy to roll with you. I'm sure you're very good in your way. But I can tell you, Brendan is a guy who's gone viral for jiu-jitsu multiple times for good reason. So shout out him. And also be sure to check out the premiere of Brendan's episode of The Grappling Hour that premieres this Tuesday at 10 a.m. only on the Grappling Hour channel on YouTube or Kick or whatever you watch, you know, but just find it on YouTube really. Or you can check it now at patreon.com/grappling hour and see it early and support me. So there's that. Lessons learned. All right, Tim, I believe that has gotten us to the end of the board. tell the people where they can find you, good sir.
Yes, sir. You can find me at Inside BJJ on your favorite social media. If you're out in Nashville, come see me at 10th Planet Nashville. If you're out in Northern California, go see my great friends at 10th Planet Stockton. Raph, great to see you today. And big shout out to Clarence, because I'll tell you what, most dudes that weren't at the gym when dude showed up to the gym for the challenge would not have come back to the gym knowing all day long that this dude was there waiting for you. So the only way to get better is to put your shit out there. So good on you, Clarence. Other than that, love you, Raph. Great stuff, man. Can't wait to see you soon.
Likewise, Tim. Great job today. Good stuff. Very happy with our work. And, we will be back here next week. And just to remind people, yes, we are doing some what we call block parties where we're showing some of our best work, our favorite episodes. So if you get in the comment section, you're like, is this live? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But we do try to put you clues that tell you this is a live one. So this one right now, at the time, did happen live, but you might see it on a repeat. The main thing you might see, just so we're very clear about when is when and what is what, I want you to look at this screenshot right now. And I want you to understand, top corner on this screenshot, it says encore presentation. I feel that is a very good sign you are watching something that has already happened. So we will finesse that and make that work. But thank you guys, because already this week we have quadrupled the numbers that we got for watch time last week. So I think you guys are enjoying watching some of our favorite episodes. And, it means a lot to me and Tim, because this is like a nice two-hander. Obviously, the Grappling Hour stuff is my stuff where I interview people, but this is like a big project to us that we love seeing you guys watch, like you would be at a bar at 10 a.m. and seeing repeats of SportsCenter and stuff like that. So we really do want to try to continue doing that model. And not to brag, but I think we're kind of like the first people to do that in jiu-jitsu. So as always, innovating, doing something new. So thank you guys so much for watching. Tim, I appreciate you. I will see you soon, good sir.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
All right, ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us here at the Grappling Hour and at the Inside BJJ in our collaboration for the Bullpen. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. There's a lot more to cover. We will be back next week, I think in some fashion. I'm going to be traveling out to Illinois, so who knows exactly how that's going to work. But we will figure that out sooner than later. So be on the lookout for those new episodes. And then just for your own edification, if you want to like, comment, subscribe, get notifications when we do these block parties or the live episodes, hit us up. You can find us at Grappling Hour on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Kick, wherever it is you watch. We love and appreciate you. And even on TikTok. Yeah, we are live on TikTok on those days. All right, friends, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for watching. And also, one big shout out to everybody from Sparstar BJJ. We have two brand new champions, Andrew Carvajal and Adrian Segovia, who were able to replicate their success in MMA in the world of Sparstar BJJ. It means a lot to me that those 8 guys came through for the 2 4-man tournaments. They put on a show. Incredibly proud of them. But it does beg the question, who wants next? So if you guys are interested, hit me up in the DMs and sign up for me so that I know to keep you in the running for the upcoming Sparstar BJJ events. All right, ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us. It has been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.